Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be reading different genres I don't normally read. I'm so shocked and glad that I am reading this book. I'm actually quite literally enjoying it a bit. At about 100 pages in, I hit a wall. I've been struggling to name this video. Basically, what I am going to do is read nonfiction and historical fiction books for this video or this week. I don't know how long it'll end up being, but there have been a few books on my radar. Some are anticipated 5 stars and some I'm just hoping to learn from, and I decided to make a video out of it because I've never read a nonfiction or a historical fiction book before. Before we get into this video, if you have not, please give it a like and subscribe down below. That way you don't miss any more of my videos. And I'm gonna quickly talk about the books that I'm going to read, or 2 that I have picked out, and then we'll start reading them. I'll give you my thoughts, my feelings, everything in between. Hopefully I don't DNF anything. We'll see. The first book that I think I'm going to read is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This is a lot of people's 5-star read, which just shocks me because I guess I just didn't think it would be, but I guess her writing is so good and she makes you feel so many emotions throughout this book, and that's one thing that I love. So I want to give it a shot. It takes place in World War II and it follows 2 sisters, and it shows you how it is to be a girl during World War II. I'm excited. We'll see. It is a chunky book and it's about 560 pages, so I don't know how fast I'll get into it. I am a little apprehensive just because it is a historical fiction. I did used to own The Book Thief, and then I ended up unhauling it just because I heard it was very boring and hard to get into. I watched the movie, I enjoyed the movie, but I just never read the book. So this will be my first one. The other book that I have so far is a nonfiction book, and it's The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. Another recent release that I've seen a lot of people reading. I have never read a nonfiction book, so I don't know if I'll really read it or if I'll just kind of give my experience through it, what I learned, if it was worth it. And this one is not very big. I feel like this will be very helpful and educational in my current life with clients and patients that I deal with, just everyday life, how I am as a person. I do feel like I can learn a lot from this book. So this is the second book I have picked out. I think we're gonna start with The Nightingale and then we'll go into this. Maybe I'll do kind of a dual, so like I'll listen to one on audiobook and then I'll also read one. But this is our first video in May, so it's very exciting and different than what I've done before. Let's get into it and let's start The Nightingale. since I saw you last. I'm on my phone for 1 because I'm outside. 2, all 3 dogs are outside and it's warm, so you can probably hear them. I apologize, but I have been obsessed with this book. I don't want to put it down. I can't stop reading. The other night, it was like 11 o'clock and I went to like go to read another chapter and I'm like, what am I doing? I need to go to bed. I work in the morning. So I can't express my love that I have for this book. And it's so weird to me because I was really worried going into this book that I wasn't going to be as drawn in as I wanted to be, or I would just like take forever to get through this book. And honestly, I've probably sat down and read this like 4 times, and that's how far I've gotten through this book. So when I read it, I just want to keep reading, and it's amazing. I love the characters. I did listen to, I think, 3 chapters on audiobook because I was cleaning the entire house Friday, so I couldn't like sit down and read as long as I wanted. So I listened on audiobook and it was so good. I loved the accents, and I think it helped me to kind of understand the personality a little bit better, understand the names, because obviously they're French and German. So anyway, absolutely obsessed so far. The characters, I have not cried yet. There was one big kind of thing that happened a few chapters ago, and I was at my second job and I was reading it, so I didn't really tear up or anything. It was kind of, without spoiling it, like a side character, so it wasn't someone I was super attached to, but it was still really sad, and I just want to know what's happening. I do. And keep in mind, this book is like 560 pages, and I'm like, oh, how is it almost over? Like, I just love the educational part of this, but the way Kristen Hanna writes it is so intriguing and interesting, and it's just so good. So I wanted to come on here and say that. I will obviously talk a little bit more about it once I finish the book, but right now I have no notes. I am so shocked and glad that I am reading this book. So let's read a little bit more. I'm hoping to finish this either tonight or tomorrow, but I just have a really busy week with work, so we'll see. I feel like this is either gonna go really good or really bad, and I don't know which one. I want to say probably like good. I don't think it'll be that bad. I'm probably wrong though. Side note, why is it white? That makes me feel like I can't take off the dust jacket because I don't want to get it dirty. Hello, it is me, and I just want to come in with a little update. So my nephew is sleeping right now and his show is going, so I brought out the mini mic to hopefully help the sound quality. However, I have just been reading. I am currently on chapter 3, page 55 of the Let Them theory, and I just wanted to mention that this is not hard for me to get into. I was very worried that I just wouldn't want to sit down and read it. I would kind of get up, get on my phone, whatever it might look like, and I'm not doing that a lot, which is good. I'm actually quite literally enjoying it a bit, and I feel like this book was made for me to read at this moment because my perspective on everything has kind of changed in the last year and a half, 2 years, and I think that it was a good time for me to start this book. I have been dog-earing a few of the pages to point out or to read a little sentence or two that I'm really enjoying, and yeah, I never thought that like this would be a book that I'd like sit down and actually want to read, but I do. So I recorded this clip already once before and I didn't have my mic plugged in, so I feel like my first clip was way better than this one. Anyway, so the first quote that I found that I actually underlined was on page 18, so very soon into the book, and it said, "Imagine you're at work and your colleague is in a bad mood. Instead of letting their negativity affect you, just say let them. Let them be grumpy. It's not your problem. Focus on your work and how you feel." Amen. I have become the type of person to be unbothered, and I wasn't always like that, but I feel like with the experiences I have had in the last, I would say like 2 years, the relationships, the friendships, the just everything really, I have kind of changed the way I think of things or feel about things based on those experiences. So for example, just at work, I've had a lot of feelings of like negativity and drama around me, and I don't enjoy that at all. I'm an unbothered person. If you want to say something or if you feel like something, go ahead, but why would I let that bother me? And I think that quote is exactly what I needed to hear right now. And there's a few others that, not specifically work related, but just in general, that I really enjoyed. But I'm gonna put those off until a little bit of a later date when I come and do a check-in. I just wanted to mention that this is actually not hard for me to get into, and I'm kind of enjoying it. It's definitely a different book that I'm used to because obviously it's a nonfiction and she's like talking to me through the page, which I think is very different, and just seeing her experiences or maybe seeing how she thought of something and that's exactly how I thought of something, like the feelings are there and the emotions, I can tell this is probably going to be very beneficial for me. So yeah, I'm now going to check to make sure this mic quality is good. I hope it's not too loud. I'm like looking and I feel like it's kind of loud. And I'm just gonna keep reading. It's about 6:48, so yeah, I'm in the reading mood, so I'm gonna keep reading. Has felt so slow after I got about 100 pages in. It has been a task to get through. I don't know why. I'm on page 177, so I'm more than halfway through chapter 13, but it is just going so slow to the point where I'm like, I just want to finish it. I just want to get it over with and move on. It's not that it's bad, it's just repetitive, and there's good parts and then other parts where I'm just like, I would rather be reading something else, or maybe like, okay, let's get over this. I just want to skim through it and then continue the next one. I'm reading it, but it feels like I just want to skim over it. I'm not going to give my full thoughts right now, but it's not bad. I think I'm just hitting a wall, and it's not a slump because I've currently gotten through 1.5 other books in the time that I am reading this one, but this specific book is just going so slow, which I had a fear that it was going to. But like I said, that first 100 pages, it really wasn't all that bad. And then it's like I'm going through mud now. But I'm gonna keep trying to read this as much as I can just to get over with it. I'm hoping that I can get like half more of this done and then I can finish it tomorrow. We'll see. Hello guys, good evening. I have finished my books for this video, so let's recap. Let's talk about the Let Them theory and my thoughts after finishing it. And then we'll end out this video. I just washed my face, so there's a little water on my shirt, that's why. However, the first book that we finished was The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I absolutely adored this book, way more than I ever thought I was going to. And I don't know why that was. I think just because it was a historical fiction, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself about it, and I was worried that it wasn't going to be great, but I was wrong, and I'm glad I was wrong. So The Nightingale follows two sisters. I really enjoyed the point of views. I felt like I was getting a good mix of everything going on in that time frame with World War II and the different places. People were experiencing different things at different times, and I really did enjoy that, as well as the relationships between characters and the secretive kind of aspects of the book. I felt like very much intrigued me. And I felt so much when I was reading this book. Just within the first few chapters, I felt like I could feel the emotion and the sadness of everything that was going on with the people at war and the men coming back from war injured, and just, they always said they were just changed, and I could just imagine that. So this book, literally, it says an unforgettable portrait of love and war. I 100% back that up. If you are worried about getting into historical fiction, try starting with this book. I read it like a physical book almost the entirety of the book, and I did not want to put it down. It is a big book. I ate it up. I didn't care. It didn't feel long. And I did listen to the Spotify audiobook for a few chapters when I was cleaning. I loved the accents. This one I really enjoyed. Honestly, 5 stars. I'm giving it a 5-star. I was kind of between like, oh, should I give it a 5? No, I absolutely enjoyed this book way more than I ever thought I was going to. And for a historical fiction book, it being my first one, it makes me want to read more by Kristen Hanna. I want to pick up Firefly. I want to pick up any recommendation you have by Kristen Hanna. Let me know and I will get it. So that is the first book we finished. I hope that the mic, that's why I keep looking at my viewfinder, because I want to make sure I'm not like screaming into the mic. I apologize. I'm just learning. The next book we finished, and the final book in this video, was a nonfiction novel. That is the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. This I was seeing all over, and I felt like, just based on my personal experiences, maybe this would be a really good book for me to read and to learn more about myself, but also other people and how that affects, yourself. So the Let Them Theory, I started this book and I read, I would say, like the first 60 pages. I did not even put it down. I just kept reading and reading and reading. And then at about 100 pages in, I hit a wall, which I had mentioned earlier today. I just could not keep reading. I don't know why. I wouldn't say it was a slump because I did finish 2 other books in the time, or like 1.5 books in the time that I was reading this. So it wasn't like it was deterring me from reading. It was just this specific book with this specific information that was quite hard for me to get into. So with that being said, I had several favorite quotes in here that I felt like were just amazing overall, if I'm being honest, and life lessons. Within like the first 100 pages, I felt so connected to this book, and I felt like it was written for me to read. That's the only way I can explain it. And so some quotes that I'll mention, the first one is, why do you take on the responsibility for someone else's happiness at the expense of your own? That one was a very agreeable 100%. I totally get that. The next one, every human being is dealt a different hand in life, and you can't control the cards that someone else is holding. The more time you spend staring at someone else, the more you'll miss the entire point of the game. Facts. Absolutely agree. So there's just so many things that I love and took away from this book. It talks about work, it talks about relationships, whether that is with a significant other or if it's just friendships or relationships in your family. I did enjoy it. There were just some things that were repetitive or I just wasn't as interested in reading about. So I either wanted to just like skim over it or just like, okay, can I get to like a different part that's a little bit more enjoyable or entertaining to me? But for it being my first nonfiction novel, I felt like the book that I chose was probably a good one because I could relate to a lot of the information being told. Rating wise, I kind of feel weird rating a nonfiction because it's more like learning. It's not storyline material. However, if I had to give it a rating, I would probably just give it about like a 3-star. It wasn't anything crazy. Nonfiction wise, am I going to read another nonfiction novel? I don't know. If there's one that kind of speaks to me like this one did, maybe I'll pick it up and try it out. Or if you guys have a specific one that you think I would enjoy, sure. However, that is it for this video. If you enjoyed seeing me read different genres for the first time, let me know. Let me know if there's any other genres you want me to read. I don't think I've read like a science fiction one in a very long time, but we got these 2 off the TBR cart and I'm very happy I read them. And I honestly could not imagine a life where I didn't read The Nightingale. And now I can say that I have, and I absolutely enjoyed it. So thank you guys so much for sticking to the end and watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye.